Assalamualaikum, sir.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Assalamualaikum. Checking my share screen.
Is this sir join for Nina, sir?
Professor, sir.
Yes, sir.
Professor sir কে তো দেখতে পাচ্ছি না।
This is sir. আমি দেখতেছি কল করে।
জি স্যার, আমরা জয়েন করেছি স্যার। আসেন স্যার। জি স্যার।
হেড স্যার আপনি কার সাথে কথা বলেন? প্রফেসর স্যার না ভিসি স্যার?
প্রফেসর স্যার।
প্রফেসর আচ্ছা স্যার আমি তাহলে ভিসি স্যারকে একবার
ভিসি স্যারকে একবার একটু কল দিয়ে
একটা নক দিচ্ছি। হ্যাঁ আমি দিচ্ছি।
অলরেডি 10টা বেজে গেছে।
বেনজেপো তুমি খালি আমি লিংকটা শেয়ার করে দিচ্ছি, তুমি একবার একটু অ্যানাউন্স করে দাও যারা আছে অলরেডি করতে থাকো।
ওকে, আমি বলে দিচ্ছি। So, dear participants, kindly fill up the Google form given in the chat option so that you can get the certificate.
Dr. Asif.
Islam, Prof.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, Prof. How are you?
Yes, we are fine here. What about Dr. Fahad Ibrahim?
Sir, all of them are here. Sir,
Fahad.
all of them have joined. Yes, sir.
Assalamualaikum, I'm here.
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। এনএজের আপনার দুটো লিংক খোলা আছে, একটু একো হচ্ছে।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
অনেক আপনার রাত হয়ে যাবে আসিফ।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম
স্যার
স্যার আমার ইকো হচ্ছে না।
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
I don't
Walaikum
think so.
salam. I see so many faces. Okay, great to see you.
ডক্টর
আসসালামু
শাহাদাত।
আলাইকুম, স্যার।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
Walaikum.
হ্যাঁ নাজরুল ভাই কেমন আছেন?
জি আলহামদুলিল্লাহ, আপনি ভালো আছেন?
হ্যাঁ ভালো ভাই।
আচ্ছা ফারিয়া আপু, আমার কি ইকো হচ্ছে একবার দেখো তো। জাভেদ স্যার বললো আমার কি ইকো হচ্ছে।
ঠিক আছে, এখন ঠিক
না এখন ঠিক আছে আপু।
স্যার আমি দুই জায়গায় কানেক্ট হয়ে আছি।
Professor Fahad Ibrahim, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Assalamualaikum, sir. I'm fine. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for taking accepting our invitation and joining us despite this all this Ramadan, you know,
No,
you are
it's
taking
absolutely
this
my
trouble.
pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much. It's nice to see you. Then Professor Dr. Asif. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Good to see you.
Vice Chancellor, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you very much. Really, we are really pleased to have so many honorable professors around and to
So much,
speak
Prof.
on a very important issue that we are now facing, keeping
also,
the students.
Professor Dr. Shahadat Hussain is also here.
Okay, great to see Dr. Shahadat. How are you?
I'm fine,
Assalamu
thank
alaikum.
you.
Fine.
Wa
Thank you,
alaikum
sir. Thank you. All the, illustrated professors are here. So this is a great day for Northern University. And I'd like to thank Professor Dr. Nazrul for arranging such a seminar where such a big shots are already here. Thank you. I think we should not spend much time. We should start it immediately. Huh?
Shall I start?
If it is okay. Okay, sir. If it is okay with you all.
Yes, sir.
then we
Yes,
can
sir.
start.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. With your permission, I'm starting.
Fine.
Respected guests and dear participants, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our international webinar on student engagement in online class problems and solutions, organized by Faculty of Business, Northern University, Bangladesh. We know online teaching or e-learning nowadays has been on the rise in recent time all over the world. And it is not hard to see why. Especially during this pandemic, we can see that it has become so popular. E-learning courses have become highly popular by the simple virtue of being much more convenient than the face-to-face traditional courses. But the fact is, maintaining effectiveness of online teaching and also to ensuring the student engagement is very difficult and challenging for both the teachers and the learners. It is difficult for the teachers to grab the attention and hold the attention of the student during the class time, and also to track down their attention during this pandemic situation. All these issues will be discussed today by our honorable guest and resource person. Now, it's my privilege to introduce our chief guest of this evening, Professor Dr. Abu Yusuf Muhammad Abdullah, Honorable Chairman, NUB Trust. We are very delighted to have such three internationally recognized resource persons with us today who will share their views, ideas, and also their experiences regarding student engagement, their relevant problems, and also their solutions. Today we get Professor Dr. Shahdat Hussain, Director, Southwest Institute for Sustainability, Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, University of Texas, Arlington, US. We also have with us Professor Dr. Asif Mahbub Karim, FCGIA, Dean, Binary Graduate School, Binary University of Management and Entrepreneurship, Malaysia. And finally, we have with us Dr. Fahad Ibrahim, FHEA, Assistant Professor, School of Management, University of Swansea, UK. Professor Dr. Anwar Hussain, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Northern University, Bangladesh, is present here today as our session chair. Professor Dr. Nazrul Islam, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor and Dean, Faculty of Business, Northern University, Bangladesh, is present here today as the technical session chair. Honorable guest, this is Benazir Rahman, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Business, Northern University, Bangladesh. Welcome you all once again in this event. Today, our event is divided into two sessions. We are now going to start the first session, that is the inaugural session. At the very beginning, I would like to request Dr. Javed Mahmood, respected head, Department of Business Administration, NUB, for his welcome speech. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Benazir Rahman. Professor Dr. Anwar Hussain, Vice Chancellor, Northern University, Bangladesh. Today's chair of the technical session, Professor Dr. Nazrul Islam, Pro Vice Chancellor, NUB. Professor Dr. Shahdat Hussain, Director, Solid Waste Institute for Sustainability and Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, the University of Texas, Arlington. Professor Dr. Asif Mahbub Karim, Dean, Binary Graduate School, Binary University of Management and Entrepreneurship. Dr. Fahad Ibrahim, Assistant Professor, Swansea Business School, University of Swansea, UK. My dear colleagues, hopefully we will be soon be joined by our chief guest of today's program, Honorable Chairman of NUB Trust, Professor Dr. Professor Dr. Abdullah. He has not been, is not yet with us. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The first lockdown in Bangladesh due to COVID-19 became effective from 26 March 2020. It propelled us to a new era, an online era. Previously, we had heard of work from home. We were somewhat familiar with online banking, online ticketing, online shopping, etc. But for many organizations, failure to go online would simply mean the end. It is estimated that in Dhaka city alone, 100 restaurants would be closing their doors forever. But for other organizations, new doors have opened. For them, survival is not an issue. Managing the excessive workload is. It has indeed proved what gurus have been teaching us for a long time. Adaptation is the key to success. Northern University Bangladesh is known as the country's first digital university. Yes, we have proved it during the COVID crisis. We have switched over to online mode from regular classes without even losing a day. Actually, we were online even before the pandemic started. We had faculty members from taking regular classes online from Malaysia and Australia. Still, hats off to our IT team for the smooth transition to virtual mode. It is true that we have faced some problems with online classes. We are still learning about how to make our online courses more effective, how to properly evaluate the students, and very importantly, how to engage the students in the classes. It is an ongoing process. Today, proving once again that distance is no longer a barrier, we have with us 3 educators from different parts of the world, from Malaysia, the USA, and UK. And the technical session, they will be joined by our very own Professor Dr. Nazrul Islam from Bangladesh. They will be sharing with us their experiences on how to better engage the students in online classes. I welcome you all to what I believe will be a very interesting webinar. I am sure we will all benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Dear participants, kindly fill up the form given in the chat option for e-certificate. At this moment, may I now request our session chair, Professor Dr. Anar Hussain, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Northern University, Bangladesh, to share his ideas and views about this topic. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Manager, Honorable Chief Guest of the today's program, this evening's program, Professor Dr. Abu Yusuf Muhammad Abdullah, Honorable Chairman of the NUBT Trust, 3 learned professors from 3 continents, Professor Shahadat Kabir, Professor Shahadat Hussain, Professor Ashif Mahbub, and Dr. Fahad Ibrahim. My Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Nazrul Islam, my colleagues and dear students, good evening and Assalamu alaikum to you all. It is a Ramadan evening. I know all of you are tired, and despite that, the very attractive the position of the seminar on a very important topic is really a welcome move for the business school. I think this is something that we need to have discussion on, because as our head of the Department of English Business has already said, Dr. Javed, that Northern University Bangladesh did not lose any single day in introducing the online teaching. But for the last more than 1 year, we have been teaching classes online. But as you know, this is a generation Z, which is a very, generation which are very difficult to have their concentration, attention. They do not have a span of attention which will last for more than 3 minutes. And under this situation, to conduct a class online and keeping them, glued to the class will be a difficult and challenging one for all of us. And I hope that today's technical session, our learned professors will throw light on this, and this will immensely help all of us in improving our classroom situation and getting the attention of the students. The young students, especially the teenagers, they have so many different ideas. They live in a world of emotion. And if something is not interesting, they are not, used to give attention over that. So that's why the teachers have to be very careful about it, how to draw their attention, how to engage them, how to involve them, and how to get the exercises done through them, and also make the evaluation, which is also another challenge for us. So I would not like to talk much, because I know in the technical session, we have to give time to our honorable guest speakers who will be talking in details on these issues. And I'll be passively listening that, because my role will end right now, because I'll simply announce the inauguration of this great seminar that we are going to hold this evening. And with these few words, I thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, and expect this seminar a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring word. And with this speech of our honorable session chair, the inaugural part of this session has completed. Now we are going to start our second session, that is the technical session, where our resource persons will share their views and ideas with us regarding student involvement in online classroom. Professor Dr. Nazrul Islam, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Northern University, Bangladesh, will handle the technical session. May I now humbly request, sir, to start the technical session. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, you need to unmute your speaker.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum and good evening to all of you. Today's webinar is on student engagement in online class problems and solutions. As our Honorable Vice Chancellor mentioned, that when we were shifted from offline to online, we were facing a lot of challenges in teaching, in evaluating our students, and in engaging our students in class. Therefore, it is a question, all of us in front of us, how to make our class effective, how to engage our students in class so that we can make our class more effective, and how can make our class more productive, or how can we make our class a value-adding class, so that today in this technical session we shall hear from honorable resource persons, and they will share their experience, what they are doing over there in USA, in UK, in Malaysia, how they are going to engage their students in online teaching, and what are the problems they are facing and how they are solving those problems. So today we have three speakers, three resource persons from, as our Vice Chancellor mentioned, three continents. Professor Dr. M.D. Shahadat Hussain, he is from University of Texas, Arlington, USA. We have with us today Professor Dr. Asif Mahbub Karim. He is from Binary University of Management and Entrepreneurship, Malaysia. And also we have a professor with us, Dr. Fahad Ibrahim. He is also from the University of Swansea, United Kingdom. I welcome you all to this very important webinar session. So according to our schedule, I would like to start with Professor Dr. M.D. Shahadat Hussain. Professor Shahadat Hussain right now is the director of Solid Waste Institute of Sustainability, and he is a professor of Civil Engineering Department at the University of Texas at Arlington. And Professor Shahadat Hussain has completed his BS degree in Civil Engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Bombay, India, and Master of Engineering in Geotechnical Engineering from Asian Institute of Technology, IIT Bangkok, Thailand, and PhD from North Carolina State University, USA. Dr. Hussain is an expert in the design of waste containment and bioreactor landfill technology. He is working on different aspects of bioreactor landfill engineering design and operational practices for last 15 years. At present, Professor Hussain is working on research, development, and implementation of innovative solutions for sustainable waste management and to provide support for waste management in the USA and developing countries. Dr. Hussain is also working on transportation geotechnics related projects with Texas Department of Transportation. Dr. Hussain has more than 6 years of professional experience in geotechnical and geoenvironmental engineering in Bangladesh, Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Thailand, and USA. Dr. Shahadat Hussain had worked on more than 50 geotechnical and geoenvironmental design and construction projects in different countries of the world. Now, I would like to request Professor Dr. Shahadat Hussain to share his experience with us. How can we overcome what problems we are facing in conducting our online classes, and how to engage our students in online classes, and how to overcome these problems. Professor Shahadat Hussain.
Okay. Can you let me share the screen? It says host disabled.
Sure. You can, I think.
Still says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Anis IT, can you hear us? Please allow him to share the screen. Mr. Anis.
Tausif, can you do that?
Tausif is host today, sir.
তৌসিফ দিচ্ছে স্যার আপু।
Oh, yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I would like to thank Nazrul Bhai for inviting me. I met Nazrul Bhai when I was studying in AIT, Bangkok in 1996. I was there between 95 to 97, and I think he joined there in 96. I also like to, thank VC Anwar Hussain sir, and he has pointed towards some of the very important point, and hopefully I can put some light on them. And I would like to also thank Dr. Faria for communicating very nicely throughout the last few weeks and giving us guideline how to do and what to do. So let me get back to the topic. Student engagement. This is something I really like. And in my class before COVID hit, I always had the class that I have interactive. When I'm teaching, I'm talking half the time. I'm letting student talk half the time. So when it went into the online mode, it was really difficult for me to accept that how I can continue with the participation of the students. So I need to come up with many different ways so that I can make it interactive or, two-way. It should not be only one way that I'm talking, they're listening. I need always a student to ask me question, or if they don't ask question, I ask them question. So I'm going to shed few lights, what we are doing at University of Texas at Arlington and how I'm managing my classes. Just to let you know, usually because my research load is very high, I teach only one class in a year. In spring, I don't teach any class. And my work is only research, spring and summer. Fall, I teach only one class. This time I'm teaching one class in spring because I don't have much travel. Because of the COVID, I cannot travel much. So when COVID hit USA, March 2020, the second week of March was spring break. So when everybody went spring break, before spring, they could come back to class, we extended the online session for 2 weeks, hoping that COVID will go away in 2 weeks. And then we continue till now, online mode. So university came up with many different modes. One, fully online option 1, which is basically synchronous, fully online option 2, asynchronous, hybrid. Instructions are online, but testing will be face-to-face. Hybrid 2, meet once or twice, depending on the instructor in the class, but the test will be based on the instructor requirement. And if the class size is big, let's say 80 students in a class, we have a room capacity 150, divide the 80 into 4 different groups so that only 20 students comes in the classroom at a time, and there will be a lot of space among them. Social distancing is not an issue. And hybrid mode and face-to-face mode. Now, before you go to the online mode, I want to tell you that when COVID hit, before instruction, I'm talking about my research group now. I have 25 research students, 15 PhD students, 7 master's students, and 3 undergrad research students. And I have like a lot of research projects. So my main concern was, I cannot afford to keep my research, not doing the research. I need to continue with my research. So I immediately had a meeting, Zoom meeting with the students and created a WhatsApp group to communicate with my students. Usually I communicate with the PhD students, masters and undergrad, they don't see much. I travel a lot for my research. But this time, because I cannot go anywhere, because the students need support, I created a group and I started communicating with them on a regular basis. We also came up with a program which slimmed down during lockdown. People were not having much time. And according to CDC, mental health eventually will become a big deal. So I wanted to keep my students updated and healthy so that they can do some outside activities within the lockdown and continue the research. Since April 2020, our group is the only group in the entire university that continued with the research without stopping any work. We came up with many different policies. We came up with many different social distancing policies so that they can go to the field, do the work or come to the lab without having any effect of COVID. After our, the group started working, I gave a presentation in the department and the university level. Many other university groups followed our protocol and followed the way we did the work. This is for research. Now, delivering classes online, it's not easy. We are used to being in a face-to-face setup. We ask questions, the student asks questions. This was our normal for life. It's not easy just to switch from face-to-face to online. This was my class in online, in a field. I always take the student to the field. Whatever we are teaching in the class, in the theory, if there is any related practical application, I take them to the field. I cannot do it online. So how do I replace this kind of field visit in the online setup? Other than classes, students have their life. They meet with the friends, they talk to them. This is selfie, this is selfie. This is the time of the selfie. And Professor Anwar Hussain mentioned it exactly right, that, this generation is different. When we are teaching, we cannot just teach, conventional way. We need to come up with ways so that we can capture the mood of the recent generation. Now, offline or face-to-face class, we can always do this. We can engage them in many different ways. How do we do this in online session? From here, if you look at this is great. They are interactive. We never thought this is great. We always assume this is part of the life. This is given. From all this, selfie, talking to the friends, going to the coffee shop, this is a life now. You're sitting in a corner of your house or in a coffee shop or in a library or somewhere in the remote corner, looking at computer, watching the online video, and that's your life now. With this, what are the problems? 2000, last year, there are a lot of research. Immediately, people jumped into it. And Top Hat is one of the organizations, they do a lot of academic research. They found, the main problem, student complaint, it was unengaging. There is no engagement. Sometimes teachers are talking, students, you don't even know whether their name is there. You don't even know whether they're there or they're not there, or they're having coffee or they're chatting with somebody else. A student can, if it is asynchronous, a student cannot ask the professor any question. If it is synchronous, sometimes they can ask the question, sometimes they can't. 25% students said, in spring 2020, that they don't want to enroll in any classes in fall. 70% instruction, online instruction, they said is worse than the in-class instruction. 50% were spending less time on classes. But the main issues, if we focus on two main issues from the student perspective, it was unengaging and less interactive with the students, That's given. We know that this is happening. Okay. Now, before telling others, why they were not engaging, they should be engaging. Look at this. This is the photo. I'm not trying to, paint a bad picture for others. This is my son. He's in 7th grade. I did not send him to school, even though there is an option. He's taking classes online. So this is during his class. Zoom is going on. So I asked my son, what are you doing? He said, I'm in class. Don't worry, I'm doing the class. He is, playing in iPad. His class is going on there. This is engaging. This is the problem with engagement. They are unengaging. So now I ask him, why you are not listening to them? These are the material he's covering. I know all of them. So I don't have to worry about it. I always make sure that whether he's doing the homework and others, as long as he's doing everything else, it's engaged or not, it doesn't matter to me. But they're in high school, in middle school. When you come to the university level, your courses materials are more demanding. You cannot be unengaging like this. This is a practical example. I'm not trying to say others are bad. This is my own home. My son is doing it. They're not engaged. Again, e-learning magazine, they did some research. If you keep going back and forth, there is one thing, their student complaint, interaction. They don't have much interaction with the instructors. They also have the feeling that they are isolated. They don't know anybody what is going on. This feeling of isolation and insecurity creates a big problem for them. On top of that, there is a lot of COVID restriction. Lockdown today, lockdown tomorrow, you cannot go here, you have to put on mask. There's a lot of pressure going on with the students. Now, if they're senior student or junior student, they are mature student. But if someone is in year 1 or year 2, they are still getting used to the system itself. So they have to get used to the system. On top of that, they have to get used to the, COVID system. So online teaching, another issue that nobody can fix. This is based on US data. When we are offering an online class, we are assuming everybody has computer and everybody has internet access. Even in USA, if you look at this income level, people with the $50,000 to $75,000 annual income level, their internet access is only 50 to 60%. Many students are coming from poor to rich to all brand of group of people. So if we are teaching online and they don't have internet at home, how they are going to take the class material, how they are going to learn. Number one. Number two, there was another issue we came across that many students use university computer system. They don't have computer on their own. So the issue is, how will they, learn the material if they don't have any computer, if they don't have access to the university computer system? So talking about, that we can easily transfer to online, yes, it's good, but we need to make sure a student has both internet and computer access. If we look at main recommendations, based on all the review, if you look at all three, number one, number two, number three, interaction, interaction, interaction. Number one, learning experience. Number two, interaction with the faculty members. Number three, interaction with the other student, social experience. So the interaction became the key, and the process. We also have a lot of the process. We post the material, how they get the material. How do they have access to the material? Do they have access to the network? So everything is depending on interaction. Now, for me, some of the recommendation I'm going to show in few more slides, it's easy for me to say when I'm teaching only one class a year, it's easy for me. But if you're teaching 2-3 classes, it's not easy. It's very demanding. You need a lot of help. You need a lot of support from the university staff, or UTA or USA, we have GTA, graduate teaching assistant. Every course I teach, I have 1 or 2 GTA who is helping me with the course note or homework checking or uploading the material online. Okay, take it from here to next one. So now this is a solution. This is the thing that we can do, and this is the way I'm doing here. Class and class material and access to the material. One, we need to ensure the financial and equipment support for the students. When COVID hit last year, March and April 2020, we had a lot of problems. Many students came and said that, we have internet, but we don't have a laptop. So university immediately allocated some fund, bought new computer, and give every student loan of the computer. Whoever need a computer, they got a laptop from the university for the entire semester. University also made sure wherever they're, taking the notes for classes, they have access to the internet. If they don't have access to the internet, university created some port where they can come, sit with the computer and access internet to the university system. We also have the Canvas, because some classes, even we teach face-to-face, we also have online component. Before COVID, we put all our class material in Canvas. You can upload homework, class note material, and before coming to the class, they can access those material. When they come to the class, when I teach, they have to have those material to understand the material. So you need to create some, online platform so that get access to the material. When you're teaching in Zoom or Team, this meeting we are doing in Zoom, in our teaching mode, we use Teams. Both has benefit, here and there, but Team is very good working for us. When we have Team or Zoom, we need to make sure the student have access to Zoom is free, but do the student have access to Team or any platform that you are using? Another thing is some student, even in online class, they may be paying attention when you're teaching, they may not be paying attention. If you record the class and post the class later on, it will help them. Even if they're not paying attention when you're teaching, if they have the video, they can look at the video and look at the class again and again later if they need to. Okay. Another thing I did, and I follow it very strictly. I give them more time for homework submission, and I also increase the exam time. Because, when they're doing homework, in USA undergraduate students, many times they're part-time working and taking classes. Somebody has a family member who is going through COVID. the student himself is COVID affected. One of the student I have, he's an African American student. He has 4 kids and he's an elder student. One day he called me and said, Dr. Hussain, I have COVID myself and my entire family, his wife and 4 kids, everybody has COVID. So he asked me, can I extend my homework? I said, don't even ask me that. Tell me how long you need, I'll give you that much. First, take care of yourself, get out of COVID, then think about the class. Because this is a different time. This is not a normal time. Everybody is scared of COVID. Now, he not only have to take care of himself, he has to take care of 4 other kids with COVID. So we have to be flexible. Even in the testing process, I'm giving them, online testing. What I'm doing, I'm asking them when they take the test, they have to put their camera on so that I know what they're doing. Even if there is some cheating here and there, you cannot control it. But you have to be flexible. And I always believe, I keep telling, believe in them. I emphasize it again and again. And I hope that if you put your trust on them, they will trust you. They will maintain the trust of you. They will not do anything else. Okay. Now, interaction. Now, I also am, for my GTA, I have graduate teaching assistant. I asked them, when you do that tutorial, we started doing extra tutorial. So in the outside the class time, for 2 hours, GTA interacts directly with all the students who need help. In a regular face-to-face class, I never did the tutorial, but I started doing it only during COVID, because many students, they are unable to, even though it's online class, they're supposed to be sitting in the class, they are not attending the class. But in the tutorial, if they have any question, they come and clarify their doubts. So, and also this becomes a second venue to interact with the instructor support. Okay. We also do the homework, again, homework time, GTAs are again supposed to make the homework help. Homework time is completely separate. So the student, when they are doing the homework and they are getting started, they used to come to my room all the time. And I have an open door policy. If you need a homework help, you don't need to maintain my office or time. You can, if my door is open, you can come. They cannot come to see me. Now, if they need some, they can always say, but I go and check with the GTA first. If GTA cannot help, I must access it to them. How do we make it interactive? So when I went 1 week, I didn't take classes. GTA took the classes. I posted a photo. I'm going to show how I posted, where I posted, of my Ethiopia trip. And immediately, and I was teaching soil mechanics class this semester. So I told them, look around the soil, and when I come back, we'll talk about it. When I posted this photo, immediately they started asking me question about Ethiopia, how my trip is going and everything else. This is not related with the class. This has nothing to do with the class. I made it related to the class because we are standing on the ground, which is soil. So I told them, let's talk about this soil. This is just interacting with the student, making them comfortable with me, so that they know I'm sharing some of my personal life with them. This is not something very personal that I cannot share with the students. It gives them an opportunity to talk about the country, talk about the person, talk about the project that I'm working there. So my point is, even though, this may not be related with my class, it may not be related with anything, but it gives them a comfort level. The professor is coming and talking to us about it. When I'm talking about slope stability part of the class, I throw an actual example of failure there in the class. I throw it there and immediately I stop teaching. I start putting a session that, okay, you need to ask me question. And this is a forceful asking question. Now, when you're asking question, and I tell them, if you're not asking, I'm not moving forward. I do not force it, but I put it in a way, immediately everybody start asking question. For 5-10 minutes, you have a tremendous amount of question and answering session, then you move on. What it is doing, every 15-20 minutes, I'm doing it. Number one, if they're not paying attention, they will immediately pay attention when I start asking question. Even if they are engaged in somewhere, they will start talking to me. And I put 10% of the class exam, 10% of the 100% on class participation. So they are forcing themselves, because if they're not participating, they are not asking question. I know exactly who's asking question. It's on the record. This is on video. So they want the 10% point. So every 10-15 minutes, 5 minutes, we are having general discussion. Every class, every day. So to do this, I have to spend some time, come up with this kind of problem and example every day. I spend a lot of time on this. Usually I don't spend this much, but because this is online, because I want to get their attention, and because again, what Professor Anwar said, this is a different group. This is a new generation. Keeping their attention more than 3 minutes is not easy. I can guarantee you, whoever is taking my online class, everybody is going to take my follow-up class that I am teaching next semester. Everybody. This happens all the time when I was teaching face-to-face. This will happen in online session also. Now, with this, I want to take you another one. This is, I did with my research group. I built the same thing for the entire class. I created a soil mechanics group, WhatsApp group. What I do, whatever I'm teaching in the class, again, whatever I'm teaching in the class, related photo, related example, I posted in the WhatsApp. The moment I posted in the WhatsApp, they start asking a lot of questions. This is when I was teaching about permeability and levee failure. This happened in 2005 in Katrina, and there are a lot of people died in America at that time. The moment you throw it there, they are flooding the group with questions. Remember, when they are flooding the question, I have to answer each of them. It is taking a lot more of my personal time just for this interaction, just to keep it engaged in the class. If you're teaching, I can afford it because I'm teaching only one class. Can you afford it if you're teaching 3-4 class? Maybe, may not be. What you can do, you can assign your GTA to make it interactive with the students. GTA can take, GTAs are very good in WhatsApp and Facebook. If they're not familiar with WhatsApp, they don't use, create a Facebook group. Everybody, every time, day and night, people are in Facebook. They're in the Facebook, you post something here and there, they will like it. This is, if you follow the news, February, there was a serious snowstorm in Texas, and, this was one of the worst snow condition in USA. This is a photo of my house backyard. So I post a photo, and immediately they started posting their photo about their house. Does it have anything to do with the soil mechanics class? Maybe, maybe not, but I made it connected. How? This snow is falling on the soil, right? So the water is going, when they melt, it will become water. Some water will saturate the soil in your backyard. What's the impact of that on their backyard? I posted a photo, make it, a lot of question, and made it related to the class immediately. Okay. This is a photo. It has nothing to do with soil mechanics. I went to a dinner one night and I saw a sky. It looks like this. I took a photo and posted it there in the WhatsApp. Immediately, 780 students posted the similar photo. They saw the same cloud in the same location. My point is, again, I go back to Professor Anwar Hussein's point. This is a different generation. We need to do stuff based on the generation. We have a particular teaching style. Online is not easy. Online is not easy. Keeping their attention, keeping them glued to your subject, keeping them connected to you. I can guarantee you, out of 70 students in the class, more than 50 are regular basis contacting with me about the subject. Sometimes off topic, on topic, but I keep them. It takes a lot of time from me, but I'm doing it because I really like the subject and I want to engagement with the students. Okay, I think I am almost or above the time. Another thing before I go, I want to make the point, as a teacher, we are supposed to create a generation. We're supposed to help the students. We're supposed to create new generation leaders. Even if we are not excellent, even if we are not teaching very good, but if we care about the student and the student knows that you care, I think the teaching and learning becomes very, very easy and simple. Okay. Thank you very much. This is my research group, part of my research group, not everybody. Thank you very much. Nazrul bhai, I cannot hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Shahadat Hussain, for delivering an excellent speech and sharing your experience with us. Thank you very much. And you tried to, in fact, mention that online is not easy. It is rather difficult than offline. So that to make it easy, we need to cooperate with them, we need to care them, we need to be flexible, we need to be interactive, we need to arrange the access to the materials and the resources, and we need to connect them, discuss them, so that they will feel comfort, they will feel that they are accepted, they are connected, and if we trust on them, they will definitely trust us. Thank you very much for your very important lecture on this student engagement on in online class, and you identified the problems, and also you have given a lot of solutions from your side, from your experience. Thank you. Thank Professor Dr. Shahadat Hussain.
So I can stop sharing the screen, right? Nazrul
Yeah,
bhai?
yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
And now our second speaker, Professor Dr. Asif Mahbub Karim. He is presently the Dean of Binary Graduate School, Binary University of Management and Entrepreneurship, Malaysia. Professor Asif, Dr. Asif Mahbub Karim currently working there as a Dean. He also served as a chief accountant at Eurogulf Security and Safety System LLC in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Later, Professor Asif promoted as manager, finance and administration. Professor Dr. Asif does research in creative, forensic accounting, budgetary control, e-learning and adult education, entrepreneurship and leadership, SME, e-banking, social media, project management, fashion designing and apparels, productivity analysis, cyber security, capacity building and management, strategic management are few areas of his research interest. Professor Asif, we want to hear from you. How are you going to engage your students in online class? What are the problems you are facing over there? And how are you going to solve those problems? Professor Dr. Asif Mahbub Karim.
Very good evening, Prof. Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, audible. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Abu Yusuf Muhammad Abdullah, the Honorable Chairman of the Board of Trustees, NUB, and of course the Program Chair, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Anwar Hussain, and of course the Technical Session Chair, Professor Dr. Nazrul Islam, the Pro Vice Chancellor, and of course Dr. Faria has been very helpful in over the past few weeks in communicating with us. I would like to thank also today's moderator, Benazir Rahman, the Assistant Professor for the Department of Business Administration, and of course, Dr. Javed Mahmood, the Head of the Department of Business Administration, and to organize such a timely required thing that is globally that we are facing and going through. And thank you, of course, Dr. Prof. Nazrul, to invite me in this platform. Yes, indeed, student engagement in online class is a burning issue these days. As we all know that we are going through a phase, the phase of pandemic, and all part of the world is equally affected with this. Like prior to COVID, I was flying a lot in different part of the world to take my classes. I was going to the Southern Africa, I was going to Central Asia, I was going to the Indian subcontinent, and of course in the Far East as well. So now during COVID, as it started, all have become stagnant, and it has to be only on the online mode at the moment. What we say an RTC, a real-time class, as we are doing it now. Of course, as like my previous, Professor Muhammad Shahadat was saying, from the perspective of, I will say, civil engineering, of course, each subject has its own way of delivering. As I'm a business school faculty member myself, so of course, we have our different challenges and issues when we teach certain subjects and when we are into the certain things. So one way solution may not be workable for all type of students. So we have to be much more creative and innovative in that way. So let's first start with a small background. I mean, more than 1 billion children around the world is at the risk of falling behind due to the school closures aimed for the COVID-19. To keep the world's children learning, countries have been implementing remote education program, yet many of the world children, particularly those in the poorer household, do not have the internet, radio, television at home. So there are the challenges which is coming up. So everyone is not blessed with internet facilities. Everyone is not blessed with a lot of things that this online system would demand for. If we see the recent UNICEF record, which says that 31% of the school children worldwide, which comes to 463 million, cannot be reached by the broadcast or any internet-based study. And 83% of the countries using this method. However, this allowed only 25% of global reachability. So whatever we are trying to do online, we could actually reach 25% of the global students. That is as per the UNICEF September 2020 report on the COVID and education 19. So globally, 3 out of 4 children who cannot be reached by the remote learning policies. So that is a huge problem, we are happy if our students are getting the access. Our students have access to online. Our students have access to internet. But what about the global issues? It is a global issues that only 25% children was actually reachable over the past year and some time. So online learning can be very lonely. Indeed, it is lonely. Can be lonely, that's what everyone claims to be. So how do we get our student engaged in our online classes? Okay. As we see, the topic for today is engagement into online. So how do we understand the level of student engagement? The levels of student engagement can be categorized into 5 components: fully engaged, strategic compliance purpose, ritual compliance, ritualism, and rebellion. If I say the student is fully engaged, that means the student have a high attention with a high commitment. Yes, I'm 100% satisfied the students and the faculty members are fully engaged. On the other hand, when we talk about some strategic compliances, well, students have high attention, but they have a low commitment. So that is where the issues are coming. Student wants to have the attendance in the class. So they are just logging into the classroom. So high attention is there in terms of student is concerned. Commitment level, very low. So we're talking about, this is a strategic compliance only. When we are talking about a ritual compliance, we are talking about low attention, low commitment. So that is a ritual compliance. And then when we talk about ritualism, we talk about no attention, no commitment. So this is also something most of us will be facing in our day-to-day delivering of the session. Ultimately, the last group we say is a rebellion group. So a rebellion group is diverted attention and no commitment at all. So they may be logged in the class. If you are taking a class in Zoom, for example, they may be logged in, but we really do not know whether they are there or not, for example. So they have a totally diverted attention, and the commitment level is, of course, not there at all. So the engagement level of students can be categorized into 5 ways, and each of them have their own problems. Each of them have some probable solution to tackle them. Of course, all are probable because some may work for some countries, some may not be workable in some other countries. That is something we have to understand. What works in Malaysia may not work in Bangladesh. What works in Bangladesh may not work in other countries. What works in a private university may not work in a public university. So there are a lot of variables to deal with when we are actually delivering our session in the online. So why aren't all the students engaged? Okay, so is it our fault as a faculty that we have failed in performing our duty as we were very much comfortable in doing a conventional face-to-face classes? So is it the student to be blamed or is it us to be blamed? That's a question to be answered. So it is a situation, like a win-win situation for both. Both have to be active. Both have to be engaged. That's what my experience talks me about. Let us look about some of the probable challenges for both student and teachers, I would say. It's not only for the students only. There are challenges for teachers as well who are delivering them. For example, the availability of digital devices. We are not just talking about a smartphone. Smartphone, yes, it is one of the devices for me to log into a class if it is being offered in Zoom. But smartphone is not the only device a student may have. So it is the availability of the digital device, number one. Number two, if available, but may not be accessible. So students, or for example, faculty member, they may have availability of the device, but they may not have accessibility. For example, say there's only one laptop in the house where there are few children. So, and these children, they have their own classes. So previously they were all used to going to the university in the campus, but now they're all at home, for example. Maybe at home, there's only one laptop. So who is going to use the laptop if they have the classes at the same time? So that's not because students don't want to engage. It is because student cannot be engaging because they don't have the accessibility to engage. Thirdly, maybe the laptop at the home belongs to the parents. So they are also working from home. If I'm looking into a student's perspective, if students have a smartphone, but if smartphone is not the only way to do the class, whereby in a laptop, it can be much better way of doing things and a much better way of sharing things, perhaps. So the laptop may be belonging to the parents, and the parents have to work from home as well. So am I going to work, or am I going to give my laptop to my son or my daughter for her to attend the class if I don't have any more spare? So that's another challenge I see from both the perspective. Sometimes the houses are too small where people are staying. So we cannot be demanding an optimum engagement of the students. Why? Because in our class, what we try to do, in all my classes, what I try to do, first thing is they have to keep their camera on. So no matter what you are doing, you have to keep your camera on, number one. Number two, try to be more of motivating way, come formally dressed. I mean, don't just wear a t-shirt and come to the session, because I'm much more involved with the postgraduate school, of course, with the PhD students, master's level students. So we ask them to come formally. Though you are at home, doesn't matter. Come formally. So when you are getting formal, when you are putting up your attire, so you are getting prepared. So engagement starts much before the class starts. So that is one way, for example, we try to handle. Some houses are very small. So if I want to keep my microphone on, I may be hearing the noises at the back. So maybe the children's mother, she is cooking. The house is too small. There are the noises from the back. That's the distortion. So student feels like switching it off. But I, as a teacher, I am thinking, oh, he's doing it purposely. So I must put myself in his shoes as well to understand what are the issues. He may not feel comfortable to switch on the camera, but I must try to encourage them to switch on the camera. Like in my class also, many times students are not willing to switch on the camera. But we have to say that since all the classes are recorded, it is going to go to the quality assurance department. At the end of the day, this may be audited by the ministry one day. So how did you conduct the class? So we want to show that everyone was physically present and the cameras are on. To get your attendance mark, you must keep it on. So that's how you actually put the information to your student, how you try to motivate them. Then the non-availability of high-speed Wi-Fi in remote location could be another issue. There is an issue that there may not be Wi-Fi connection. If the students are in the campus, no issue for that. But now the students are in remote places. So do they have access to the Wi-Fi? They may not be having. Other problems, if I see, I can divide the problems into few components. Like there can be a financial implication, there can be a moral implication, there can be a motivational implication, there can be technical implication. Like in the financial implication, investment on device and ensuring uninterrupted internet. So are students willing to invest to upgrade their device? Are students willing to invest in a new laptop? Is the parents willing to invest on them at this moment of time? So that is a financial implication as a challenge. Moral implication, the parents at home may be currently out of job due to pandemic situation. So, or they may be working in a reduced salary. So the overall moral of the house is not so strong. So we've got to know that those are also some of the challenges of engaging students as well. Motivational implication, emotionally, they may be very down as most of the households are having COVID, their relatives are having COVID, friends are having COVID, so their peer groups are having COVID. So they are going through a lot of emotions. So there are motivational implications for them to be engaged in the class. Technical implication, it may not be that everyone is an IT savvy. Both the teachers and the students need to be IT savvy, at least to be sector relevant these days. Or else, I mean, if you are talking about online, you got to be IT savvy. It's not about switching on a Zoom and taking class. No, it's not all about that. It's about creativity, it's about innovation, it's all about putting the students into guessing the next 5 minutes what the lecturer is going to talk about. So now it's an activity-based learning. Next is a discussion. Next is a discussion from our side. So student keeps on guessing. So that lecturers also need to be IT savvy. Students need to be also IT savvy. So this is another challenge I see. There are societal implications. Just because it's online at the moment, so we can be very casual. Many people think like that. No, it is not. It is as good as face-to-face classes. It's RTC, real-time class, which is live, like what we are doing at the moment. It has its importance. There may be cultural implications. The practice of such online class was not always practiced in most part of the world. So culturally, I'm not used to this. I'm used to smartphone. I'm used to chatting. I'm used to messaging people. I'm used to WhatsApping. I'm used to Facebooking. I'm used to Instagramming, but I'm not used to listening online session for hours. So culturally, this is a barrier to me. There can be policy implication. What are the do's and don't in an online classes? We need to know. And since most of us are working from home, so what are do's and don't? What are the policies to work from home? Is it I work only on my stipulated time? Is it I work 24/7 since I'm at home? Do I have a official weekly holiday? Or since I'm at home, so I have no holiday? So there is no formal HR policy also, which are given as a guideline for most of the faculties in most of the universities at the moment. Many countries of the world are coming up. The HR, the labor ministries are coming up with work from home policies. How it is going to be? Who is going to pay my internet bill if I'm working from home? Is it my employer or is it myself? So, there are issues for getting more engaged. Technical subject implications. All subjects may not be easily taught in an online mode. Like some classes require studios, some classes requires labs. Our business courses, by the grace of Almighty, doesn't require anything like that. So we can start the session anytime, any place. But certain issues needs more than a classroom activities, like the activity of a business club, for example, activity of so many things that students are supposed to be doing. So we try to keep the students engaged with the business clubs, with the debating clubs, everything. I mean, it's as if they are in the campus, simply like that. So the technical subjects. So if I cannot show a lab experiment, I would at least take the advantage of going through a proper YouTube channel, an authentic YouTube channel, and try to share that experiment to the student. At least they can see now. Maybe I was thinking that, okay, first semester, 2 semester, let me offer the theoretical courses. Next, I will come with the practical lab courses. But now the COVID is going on for a long time, more than a year. And we do not know yet when we can come back to our normal sessions. So how many theoretical courses you want to have? So there must be some practical elements given to the students. So now if they are not able to come to lab, we have seen in Malaysia, students have come to lab and they were somehow they got COVID affected, either by the lab technician or anyone, we don't know. So again, it's a risky proposition we are talking about. We cannot be playing with so young mind with their health issues because everyone is not yet vaccinated. All my staffs are not vaccinated. All my lecturers are not vaccinated. So how may I take that, how can I ask my students to come in the lab and go and do the work? Okay, so I must come up with some other e-versions, some other YouTubes, or any other way to help them to look into certain things to take away the monotonous of lecturing. Let me just discuss about some of the guidelines to ensure effective engagements. Of course, these are guidelines. So what I would do in my class, that's what I'm sharing actually. So make work as interactive as possible. So the first thing we have to make sure is we try to make as much interactive class as possible. Okay, so the traditional lecture format has come under criticism. We cannot be teaching 3 hours. We cannot be teaching 2 hours. Ideally, you teach for half an hour, fine enough. Give a 5 to 10 minutes off, then come back for another teaching. So we have broken down our classes into half an hour slots. A 1.5 hour class now is broken into 3 sessions, half an hour, half an hour, half an hour. So after each half an hour, there is a small amount of break, but during the break time, the students are also there, faculty is also there. They are not going anywhere, but they are not discussing the class topics. So they are discussing any other issues. They are discussing many possible things. So like there would be more group work, try to blend some flipped class charts. So ask the students, okay, tomorrow we are starting that session. Can you go through chapter number 3 from this book and then come back to the class? So I'm trying to engage them at home. I'm trying to engage them at home through the flip chart session. So that could be a way. We have to try to make them more attentive in the session. Consider using a programmatic assessment rather than using a final exam. Of course, if you have the most state-of-art technology in terms of assessing an online exam, so what we also do, we try to put them into as much as program-based assessment rather than only one exam. Of course, we take exam. That exam is only a minute or tiny components at the moment. So we try to engage them throughout the semester. We try to engage them with a lot of activities, projects, a lot of content-based activities, lot of activities, lot of building up cases, or having cases that needs a research-based information. We try to give the student project-based research. Let them work on it on their own pace, a topic that fascinates to them. So we try to engage them in multiple ways, and we mark in each of those ways, not only the final exam as a marking. So the student also knows that everyday engagement is a mark obtaining session, not only for me to be present physically, but I am doing a lot of tasks together with my online sessions, and those tasks are submitted. We upload our session to our modules in our LMS, so student can download from there anytime. We also upload our video recordings in our archives. But the fact is, we want you to be physically present in the session, participate with us, speak with us, keep your camera on. We want to listen to you. We want to see your face. Speak with us. So that is, you are trying to assess them from the way they are actually putting up the thing. A regular e-counseling is scheduled. So when there was face-to-face classes, we had counseling times. But now it's only online classes. So we want to have e-counseling with the students. We want to have e-counseling with the parents if required. So where we can assist them, we can try to make small groups. We can try to make individual counseling as well, which may not be only focused on education. It may be focused on other issues as well, as long as a counseling time is given to the student. So it's an e-counseling is very important these days. Create a welcoming environment. Yes, when we are having our students, if the students are coming to the classes, greet each student with name. Maybe you have 30 students there. Maybe you have got 40 students there or 20 students. Just call them by name. So when you are calling them by name, so there is a personal touch. The student feels, oh, I am being called in the class. So it's not that only a one-way communication. It's not that only what I am speaking. So I'm just on and off asking anyone present in the class. So as I see someone joining in, so I immediately say, hey, welcome to the class. So call by the name, welcome them to the class, greet them, so they feel motivated. And since most of our class we try to do on Zoom, of course, we have our own LMS, we have WebEx, we also have the Meet. But what we have seen, since we have classes all around the world, we take our classes, we have students all around the world from over 60 countries. So we have seen that Zoom works best in most of the countries because of the lowest bandwidth requirement for that. So since it is the lowest bandwidth requirement, so that's how we have seen it works in that way. Focus on building a strong relationship with student. So that is an important component. We must try to build a strong relationship with students, not necessarily for studies only, for other parts. Let students feel that there is a guardian, at least an e-guardian at the moment, I would say, since I don't have a face-to-face. So someone has to be mentoring them. Keep student excited about the learning method. Keep student guessing about your creative method. We have to spend time. There's no way out. We have to spend time, and we have to, spend time to be innovative for the student. When the Zoom links are sent by the emails to the student, and when the students are joining in, I try to send an, hello greetings to the students, seeing that who is joining in before the class starts. Okay, that, can't wait to see you tomorrow in the class, something like this to motivate the student. And of course, the art of communicating constantly is very, very important. We must always communicate with them, talk to them. In the Zoom, we have the breakout session. Put the students into small, small sessions. That's what I do. Then I go to each of these sessions, each of these breakout Zoom rooms, and discuss with them, and then come back to the main Zoom once again, giving some activity in the classes almost every now and then. So that's a way to keep them also talking. In the classroom, student whispers, student talks with one another. But in the Zoom, if we say, you cannot talk, I'm only speaking, that is a bit unfair. So I always will break my classes into small teams, into small breakup rooms. So let them have their own discussion there. So I would also join in for a few minutes and come back. And then after 5 minutes, the rooms are stopped and they again come back to the main platform. So there are polls which can be used in the Zoom. So try to be encouraging them on that. I have WhatsApp group for all my students. All my faculty members have WhatsApp groups. Even as a dean, I am included in many WhatsApp groups just to update the students on many issues. That's a very easy way of communicating these days. Even for my graduate school, the PhD students, even my vice chancellor is there in all of my WhatsApp group of the PhD students, because we want to keep them motivated to show even the vice chancellors are also, helping them in a communicating method, not only the dean and the heads and the faculties. Of course, providing engaging assignment and assessment. So we try to keep them very much engaged in whatever they are doing. And last but not the least, a thought sharing is to ensure effective engagement is a two-way traffic between teachers and the students. Both need to be equally motivated, creative, and innovative in their approach in the online platform. Mechanism to ensure student engagement for undergraduate classes needs to be different from a postgraduate class. Finally, it's a hard time now that we all are experiencing. The key is patience in our practices to ensure engagement reaches perfection. So with that note, I'd like to thank you very much and the management of NUB to have invited me to this particular session, and thank you for your patience hearing.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Asif Mahbub Karim, for sharing your valuable experience with us. Now we have our third speaker, Dr. Fahad Ibrahim. Dr. Fahad Ibrahim is an assistant professor, School of Management, University of Swansea, United Kingdom. Dr. Fahad joined Swansea University's School of Management as a lecturer in September 2019. Before joining School of Management, Dr. Fahad was a teaching fellow in marketing at the Birmingham Business School, University of Birmingham. He completed his PhD in management from the University of Hull with a university scholarship. Before starting his doctoral journey, Dr. Fahad worked as a strategy development manager in the marketing and creative industry in Bangladesh for several years, which helped him to set an industry experience into his teaching. Dr. Fahad's research interests lie in the field of both marketing and management. Dr. Fahad was a proud is a proud alumni of North South University. Dr. Fahad, now we want to hear from you. What is your experience in University of Swansea? How are you going to engage your students in online classroom? Dr. Fahad.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Nazrul Islam. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me here to NEB Management and all the respected colleagues and professors. I first apologize that I don't have presentation, PowerPoint presentation, but today I'm going to just discuss regarding what are the experience that I have and what I do in terms of engaging students, like a story or just a discussion session. So if, as you know, as my previous speakers, Professor Shahadar Hussain and Professor Asif, they already told everything and they have already identified all the aspects that needs to be considered. But if you see in this situation, in this setup, here we are almost like 94 people in this seminar. And out of them, how many of are like turning on the cameras, or how many of them are participating? So even if you see in any kind of situation, online is very difficult, and it's a very difficult stage to engage people. Even because of, there are a lot of reasons that Professor Shahadar and Professor Asif already told, because of lack of technology or lack of devices, lack of situation, or the situation the person is in. Because of these reasons, there are a lot of issues that people do not engage or do not turn on their cameras, or might be not communicating. So considering those situations, in the COVID situation, UK is kind of a bit different than other countries as well. If I consider the first time of the COVID, when there was not very certainty that there will be lockdowns, or you cannot come to the campus. So at that time, like Professor Sadat said, that we used to have asynchronous and synchronous system, so full online and offline system. And at that time, what we used to do, we used to take, if the classes are big, like more than 80, then we used to take it online. If the classes are small, like less than 30, we used to go to the class physically, and there were like a physical distance maintaining within the group of the students, and then we used to take classes. But when the situation get worse and then we cannot go physically to the campus, the university started going fully online. And there are a lot of issues here in different countries. For example, if I say we are not allowed to get into WhatsApp group or any online platform, because we have lots of legal issues, lots of different issues. When, let's say, if we are in a part of a WhatsApp group, and if any student are abusing to other colleagues, then we are in a problem. So from the university, it's already said that we cannot be part of those online community groups. But we have our own online platforms, and we use on different online facilities to engage students into discussion and stuff. So different country, different university, and follow different rules and regulations. And it might not be applicable to Bangladesh, or it might not be applicable to other countries as well, depending on situation. Also, as Professor Dr. Asif and Professor Saad said, it depends on the what kind of subject you're taking. If you're taking scientific courses, that requires some different kind of engagement, that requires some different kind of platform. Whereas in our social science department, I'm from marketing and management, so it's more likely that we go take the classes instantly if we have the resources in our hand. So in that cases, in our university or in UK, what we do is we record 2-hour session of our lecture previously. Along with that, we upload our activities and quizzes and discussion board in our online platform. so that before taking the live classes, that is 1 hour, that is we call seminar, or some university called tutorials, as we don't have GTAs, so we have to take seminars by ourselves. And that's where we go through all the materials that we have already recorded previously and uploaded for students. Now students have to come up with the questions, what they don't understand in those lecture materials. Now, again, the students are not engaging that much in this live situation. Even though you ask them, okay, please give me a question and I'll be waiting for you for 5 minutes, they won't answer. So how do you engage students at that situation? So from my experience last year, what I came up with for different subject, I have different strategies. For example, let's say I take service marketing. So over the 10% of overall module is based on presentation. So how you engage students over there? Like a student will present his or her slides, but other won't actually engage. So there is a problem. So what I did is like I involve them in a class participation, uh, put the mark on that. So you have to fill up an assessment form based on what kind of presentation you have seen, and what are the good things, what are the bad things, what are the different criteria that you are going to mark, and you have to submit that mark. And you have to also ask the question based on the presentation. Now, if you don't ask the question, then you will lose mark. So now the students are, even though I'm not forcing them to come, they have to come to the class and they have to participate. Otherwise, they will lose mark. So this is one way. Another way is like in my strategic marketing model for postgraduate students, I give them a real life situation case for every lecture base. So let's say I'm taking a segmentation and positioning and targeting class. So based on that, I will give them a specific scenario, UK based or international market based, and then I'll tell them, okay, work on that. And when we come back to the seminar, we will have a group discussion. Now here, the main problem is when we are using Zoom and when we are sending the students into breakout rooms, they will talk there. But the problem is once I enter their group, they will stop talking. Now what I do? So at that point, then I go and then I started taking one point from their discussion, and because they are also chatting, so I can see what kind of chat they're going through. So taking one point from that chat section and then start discussing, asking questions, how you're going to do this, what are the reasons behind it. So you have to be more flexible and you have to be more interactive with the students. So the main point here is in online, it's like everyone is facing, from like professors, you can see from the lecturer position, everyone is facing the same problem. Students are not engaging, students are not, the classes are not that interactive. Even if you see your module evaluations, like students are giving the comments that they cannot communicate with their colleagues. That's a drawback. So considering this situation, whatever we have, the resources we have, we can use those resources to engage students. For example, I use in the class different kind of platforms, like Professor Asif said, that I use, let's say, PabblePad. So PabblePad, one of the platform that can be used for students to participate in the discussion, participate in different different kind of situation that you put in there. Also, I use polls everywhere. So let's say I have discussed a topic, or I have uploaded a lecture, 2-hour lecture, and then we will ask question in the screen and they can use their mobile phone. So you have to be very flexible. So whatever they have in their own hand, they can use that. So as they're using their mobile phone, it will be easier for them to participate in the class, and I can see who are engaging and who are participating. So this is how you can engage one thing. Now the point is, when we are like uploading 2 hours lecture, it is very boring for students. So from the university, it has been suggested that let's break the 2-hour session into 15 minutes session. So 15 minutes is a very small chunk, and it's I would say scientifically, it can grab the attention of the students if it's interesting and if it's engaging. So within that 15 minutes, even though I'm lecturing, I'm telling them, okay, pause. This is the time for pause. Take a pause and give this answer to yourself, or do this by yourself, because you are doing it yourself and you're talking to the screen. So it's very difficult sometimes when you're sitting in here and listening to the lecture, and um, it becomes very boring. So you need to engage them within that lecture session as well. Sometimes what I do is use some kind of software, so that within those videos you can go and click answer the MCQ questions, so that it is more interactive. One of the way. Then in terms of interacting with my PhD students and master's research students, what I do is like, even for normal taught students, I have this, because I know it is very difficult for students to talk to the faculty members and come to the faculty members asking questions at this moment. When I was a PhD student, I used to be very lively when I used to go to see my supervisor. So I used to feel motivated. So here is the same thing. So I give every one of my students, like especially who are doing research, so they have specific time for meeting me every 2 weeks or every 1 week, depending on their need. And for taught students, I have throughout the seminar, throughout the term, I have one time, even if it's Saturday or Sunday, depending on their availability, I give it to them. I sacrifice my Saturday, Sunday, and I give them their flexibility, so that they can come and talk to me 1 hour individually. So at that point, even though people are not talking in the class session, at that 1 hour, they will talk, they will come and they will share their own experiences. They will share their psychological problem, even social problem, anything they don't feel like sharing online with others. And along with those that we are providing as a faculty members that we can do, the university also offer mental support well-being center is there. There is employability center, there assessment center. For example, a student is COVID affected, or there are some situation where they cannot give the exam because there are a lot of other exams going on at the same time. So they have to just go and give the email to the university, and university will take care of this situation, their situation, because they are very understanding at this point, because you have to be flexible in terms of for your students and their well-being. So I think as like if we see all the discussion from Professor Shada sir and Professor Asif sir, you will see the problems are almost similar and the solutions are almost depending on their subjects and the related field, there are different solutions. So you have to find your own way how you can actually accommodate your students, how you can actually interact with your students. You have to find it by yourself. First class might be a good starting point where you can see and understand how the group is, whether they are very engaging, which of the students are very engaging, which are not. And then you can actually identify, as you're teaching for a long time, you know what are the reasons, right? So you can utilize your resources to bring them into engagement with your lecture. So I think I'm done with here. And if you have any question regarding engagement or anything, you can ask. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fahad, for sharing your experience with us. And now I am going to sum up. Professor Dr. Shahadat, in his lecture, identified that unengagement is the main problem. In fact, what is the topic today? And he mentioned that the 70% online institutions are worse than offline. 70% research shows. And he also wanted to say that to overcome this unengagement problem, we need to have interactions with the faculty members, with the friends or the students, other students, and we need to ensure the access to the materials and access to what should I say, digital platform, And also he wanted to say, for this reason, as faculty, we need to adopt flexibility with our students, and we need to cooperate with them, and we need to have a trust on them. And if we trust them, then they will trust us. Professor Shadat also mentioned that these interactions also can be done by giving a tutorial class and also by giving homework. He also mentioned that asking questions and case studies, we can also make our class interactive, and also we can engage our students. And he mentioned some solutions, that the flexibility, of course, is very important. Flexibility from the teachers. He mentioned that in online exam and assignment, we can extend time, give more time, so that students will feel comfort and they will be able to answer better. And also we need to care them, cooperate with them, and we need to listen to them. And to organize them, we can, of course, all of us are doing, we can create a WhatsApp group or Facebook group, so that we can connect them with those groups. And because of the new generation, perhaps they are not able to stay more than 15 minutes on one topic. Therefore, we shall have to be strategic, and we can create attention by using some techniques. And also he mentioned that the general discussions also help to engage our students in online class. Professor Dr. Asif, of course, he said that online class is boring and it is really difficult, boring, and people cannot stay for longer time in this online class. And he mentioned that there are 5 levels of engagements. Engagement is full engagement, then strategic compliance, ritual compliance, then retreatism, and rebellion. That means not attentive at all. So we shall have to think about this level, at what level students are, and based on this level, we can customize the solutions. And also he mentioned some concern about the COVID pandemic, that there might have laptop problems because students are facing these problems. They may not have the budget to buy laptop, or may not have everybody in the family the laptop or a smartphone or digital devices, or sometimes a small house also might be a problem to make this class effective. And sometimes Wi-Fi also in Bangladesh, Wi-Fi is a problem for the, even for the faculty members, Wi-Fi is not available. But for this reason, what they do, that they can give the instruction that everybody must open their camera, so that faculty member can see them, and by force they can make them attentive. And also they must come online with formal dress, and their lectures are recorded and those are uploaded in a website. So there are issues, financial implications, moral implications, cultural, or societal, policy, and technical. Lot of issues are here in this pandemic situation. Therefore, he mentioned some guidelines that make the class interactive as much as possible. What Professor Shadat also said, and also break. We should not continue class more than 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, we can give break for a few minutes, and then we can start the same class. So by this, we can make them attentive. And also we can give them homework, what also mentioned by Professor Shahadat, that homework can also help them to engage, also mentioned by Dr. Fahad Ibrahim. We can also engage them in home by giving homework. And Dr. Asif also mentioned programmatic assessment rather than final exam, and two-way traffic. And every class is, if we assign marks in every class, online class, then the students will come, of course, and the video can be, after editing, can be uploaded in learning management system, LMS. And we should build very strong relationship with our students in this online class. And for reducing the boring. We can use breakout rooms for discussion, and also of course Zoom also can be used for group discussions. And also Dr. Fahad, the same problem facing by everybody, what he mentioned. And also in United Kingdom, they record their lectures before coming to class and uploaded those lectures in website. The students see the lecture and then come prepared, and if they have any questions, they can ask those questions to the faculty. And also breakout room can be used to reduce the boring. And also he mentioned that the lecture should not be more than 15 minutes. 15-minute session, more than 15 minutes, because students will become bored. Therefore, we should make our lecture short, and short lecture can be uploaded, recorded and uploaded in the website. And also British universities are offering mental supports to the students to engage them in teaching learning process. Help them, they are helping them in COVID, and also other support are extended to the students of United Kingdom. He also mentioned that the faculty members from our side, we should be flexible to engage our students in online class. And Dr. Fahad also mentioned that problems are similar all over the world in online class, but solutions are customized. What we saw that Professor Dr. Shahad focused more on flexibility, more on interactive sessions, and what Asif focused more on the formality, and also kind of what should I say, regulations we can use in online, engage our students in online class. Also in England, some kind of regulations we can follow and use to bring them in class and make them attentive. So dear colleagues, COVID-19 pandemic has changed teaching methods across the globe, that we heard from our distinguished speakers tonight. As universities are continuing to move all of their operations online, staff members, faculty members are working hard to deliver students high quality teaching remotely and digitally. And that is why we organized this workshop. We wanted to hear from other universities from other parts of the world what they are doing, how they are making this online class effective, how they are solving their problems at their end. Teachers are now more at ease with the distance learning model. The teachers realized that it is very important for their students to feel connected to their friends, classmates, and of course teachers. As universities navigate these uncertain times, they have an opportunity to rethink and improve the student experience through online learning. Although research has shown that remote learning can be as good or better than in-person learning for the students who choose it. But what will happen in future if it continues for uncertain time? Digital teaching and learning tools drive our learning designers and faculty members to create new ways to teach and engage our students in online class. Technology allowed us to assess and embrace different learning styles and tune digital curricula to meet students where they are. And perhaps most importantly, this integrated immersive approach is an important leap toward bridging the digital divide and gives everyone access and opportunity to learn and excel. With remote learning moving into the long run, experts say the mental, emotional, and academic impacts of that shift are likely to be challenging in future. Therefore, perhaps the future of higher education means breaking down classroom walls, embracing digital tools, and engaging students with creativity and innovation. Dear colleagues, we have arrived at the last stage of our today's seminar. Thank you very much on my behalf and on behalf of Northern University Bangladesh. I would like to extend our cordial thanks to our distinguished speakers and resource persons tonight. Professor Dr. Shahadat Hossain, he is connected from USA, and Professor Dr. Asif Habub Karim, he is connected from Malaysia, another continent, and Dr. Fahad Ibrahim, again from another continent, from United Kingdom, connected with us. Thank you very much for giving your valuable time and sharing your valuable experience with us, with our colleagues. Thank you all, Professor, distinguished professors. Thank you. Benazir, over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have come to an end of this enlightening session. Being a faculty, I'd like to share that from this seminar, we have learned a lot tactics and different issues so that we can easily handle our student in further classes, in online classes. I'd like to thank our Honorable Pro-Vice Chancellor for arranging such a nice and effective webinar for us. Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to thank all the prominent resource persons from different parts of the world for their knowledge sharing. Thank you very much, sir. And I'd like to thank Dr. Javed Mahmood sir, Dr. Faria Rabbi, who has coordinated the program with all of us. Farzana Chaudhary, Shirin Shakil, thank you for your report. I'd like to thank Tausif Shafayat Ali and Mr. Anis from IT department for hosting the show with me. I'd like to thank all the participants to be with us throughout the event. Your e-certificates will be provided soon. With this note, I, Benazir Rahman, saying goodbye to all of you. Stay safe, stay at home. Good night. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kindly off the recording.
off recording, please. আপনারা একটু